Good afternoon, and welcome to Week 3, Fundamentals of Project Management. I'd like to talk about Week 3 and what will be due this week and what to focus your time and energy on. Let's start with the due date graphic, which actually was revised as of the day I'm making this. If we look at Week 3, the first difference that you'll see is that rather than having a synchronous session, the instructor will be recording videos, and that will be the same for each of the weeks going forward. The second part about Week 3 is you're reading Schwalbe, Chapter 3, which you read last week, but it's kind of a long chapter and very dense, so take a second look at that. In terms of the PMBOK guide, this is the first week that you have to skip around to find your reading, so I'm going to quickly show you how to find that. When you look at the syllabus on page 9, there's a graphic. I think it's page 10 in the one I'm looking at, but there is a graphic, and you can see that there are red boxes that indicate what part of the PMBOK guide you should be reading for each week. So let's look at Week 3. Because we're focusing on the initiating processes, we look and there are two. This one and then this one down at the bottom. So the first one is in section 4.1, Develop a Project Charter, and that is the section you need to be reading. Unfortunately, you haven't read the Introduction to Integration yet, which is the first part of Chapter 4. So you should read that this week as well. You also are going to read the section 13.1 on Identify Stakeholders, but you haven't read the Introduction to Stakeholder Management, which is section 13. So start with the introduction and go through the two initiating processes in your reading for this week. I'm just going to note that this week there's very little reading in the PMBOK guide. Next week, Week 4, there is quite a bit, and then Week 5 there's quite a bit. And I would still suggest that you read Schwalbe first, because it's a much more straightforward explanation of project management. The PMBOK guide, remember, is a standard, and it can put people to sleep. So let's continue looking at Week 3 now that we have a better understanding of the reading. So, beyond the reading, there's a quiz that's due on Wednesday, and quiz answers are released on Friday. You have a discussion point that you start with your initial post on Wednesday and continue discussing through the week to be completed on Sunday. Your team project, there's nothing actually due during Week 3, but I suggest that you go ahead and start working on what's due in Week 4 for two reasons. One, because there's a part of it that's really focused on initiating, so it's more appropriate for Week 3. And the second thing is because the templates were actually designed to help you better understand the processes by applying those, and that's helpful to do right away for initiating in Week 3. The other thing that's due is your reflective essay, and I'm going to do a separate video about that, and that's it for Week 3 for due dates. When we look at the Engage site for Week 3, you'll notice a couple things. The first thing is that there is a case study for the Week 3 quiz, and you should read that before taking the quiz. That is actually the same case study that we will be using throughout the rest of the course for our case study analysis, one in Week 4 and one in week 8. And so the week 3 quiz really just makes sure that you understand the case study and how we're applying it to a project to prepare you for the week 4. You'll notice that there's nothing here to do with the team project. You actually need to jump to week 4. And in week 4, you'll see that there is a discussion board for the team project. And I do suggest that you start working on that during week 3, just to get it out of the way, because the planning portion is actually the largest, and that's weeks 4, 5, 6. And so getting that that initiating out of the way early will really help you. I'm actually going to jump back to week 2 and just comment on something. When I look at the team project for week 2, it's Saturday and no one has posted a thing here. And that makes me a little concerned, because typically it's better if you post your raw ideas and then let me give you feedback on them, which doesn't impact your grade in any way, but it will save you some time and help you to stop going in circles. So that's it for week 3. You'll notice that once I've added the videos into this week, it looks just slightly different than it does today. Have a great week, and let me know what I can do to be supportive of your learning.